Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Monday, December 23rd, and a happy Festivus to all of you who celebrate. Going to talk a lot Steelers on this podcast. I know it was Saturday, but we're still going to wrap up a Ravens loss, a frustrating Ravens loss with a 10 takeaway format, 10 things that I think about this game. But before we get into that, I want to remind you that this is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question, whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies. Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right. In no particular order, 10 takeaways from the game. This is the subject of my column on our website right now, but the Steelers leaders said all the right things. We heard a lot from Russell Wilson, from Cam Hayward, from TJ Watt, a little bit about having to refocus, about there still being a lot of ball left in front of them. The Steelers technically control their destiny, have to beat the Chiefs and the Bengals in the final week of the season. They're in a playoff spot. I understand it, but at the same time, you can look at the performance against the Ravens, and, well, it wasn't great. It wasn't great in a lot of key areas. Derrick Henry running for a lot of yards, the Steelers' failure to control the line of scrimmage, what has become of the Steelers' offense without George Pickens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it was, heartening, good, whatever, the mood that was struck in the locker room after the game, even some agitation. Patrick Queen was part of that. He's really been one of the team's leaders and a vocal leader, and calling some people out and saying, they have to be on the same page. This, what has to stop, et cetera. Brian Batko took care of writing his comments, but it was just an interesting place and some comments coming out of the visiting locker room in Baltimore. All right. Russell Wilson was another topic I wanted to get into. I actually didn't think Russ played that bad. Now, the two turnovers were really bad. The fumble and the pick six. The ball thrown to Michael Pruitt, maybe Russ's worst ball in Pittsburgh. And the decision to, continue to not slide. On one hand, I understand you're trying to make a play, you're trying to be aggressive. On the other, man, your age, that situation, don't take a hit. Don't risk a fumble. Get down. He got greedy. And it turned out to be costly. It was a big swing of momentum in the game. The Ravens obviously go the other way and score. Might have been knee play in the game, frankly. I know that the pick six kind of knocked the Steelers out for good, but, just think, if Russ wouldn't have fumbled there, if the Steelers punch it in, how momentum was going, if the Ravens would have been able to get back in that, I don't know. But again, I think Russell Wilson has largely played well for the Steelers, but if you put this game on his shoulders, not sure I disagree with you. All right, let's talk about Lamar Jackson for point number 3. Lamar's obviously had a lot of problems with the Steelers. I believe it was a 66.7 rating going into this one. Well, I wouldn't say Lamar won them the game. This is not a criticism of Lamar by any stretch. He did what he had to do to contribute toward winning, however you want to say that. But the game was won up front. Probably the game was won in a couple decisive plays. But you know what? Lamar Jackson was a lot better than he's been against the Steelers. He protected the ball outside of that Minka pick, and I worry about what that could mean for a potential playoff meeting. I think the Ravens are a very likely opponent for the Steelers at this point, and if Lamar Jackson no longer feels weirded out by playing the Steelers, if that's the right way to put it, yeah, not great. All right, let's talk about secondary injuries for point number 4. They're piling up. It's pretty bad. Right now, we're looking at Joey Porter Jr. missing Wednesday's game against Kansas City. That was originally announced as a calf. Mike Tomlin said a knee. We'll call it a lower body injury. Bottom line, it's a problem for the Steelers. And all of this stuff has become a problem for the Steelers. They're getting perilously thin in the defensive secondary. Dante Jackson with the back missed the game. Deshaun Elliott with the hamstring, he missed. Now, the guys who missed do have a chance to play, Mike Tomlin said, but I don't like Joey Porter Jr. being out. At that point, you're looking at maybe Cam Sutton, probably James Pierre, a banged up Dante Jackson. Devontae Kazee could be in a safety role. And you're going against Patrick Mahomes. They just got Hollywood Brown back. Obviously, it's a pretty good offense. I know people have, been kind of down on the Chiefs, but I don't know, man. I'm not sleeping on a 14-1 team this time. And, not great. Not a great situation to be missing a lot of starters in the secondary. The Steelers' own running game is not in a great spot. That's my fifth takeaway from the game. I don't know what's going on with Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren. Mike Tomlin talked about that a little bit today and said it was more, the game dictated how many snaps Jaylen got over Najee. That was 40 for Warren, 17 for Harris, by the way. Outgained him 92-72 in all-purpose yards. I don't know. Has Jaylen Warren become the Steelers' starting running back? It's an interesting point. I guess we'll see a little bit more on Wednesday. But the bigger problem, the Steelers haven't really been that effective in the running game. They have not, over the past 6, the Steelers are averaging just about 108 yards per game on the ground. That would rank 20th in the entire season this year. Now, their season-long number is pretty good, 126, that's 10th, but they haven't really done much since Washington. It's been awfully quiet, so it doesn't matter who does it. They need to run the ball better. All right, going to take our usual mid-roll break with the message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. We'll be back with more thoughts on Pat Freiermuth, TJ Watt, and a few more things on an All Things Steelers Monday First 10.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
All right, welcome back to First 10. We're here middle of the morning, Monday through Friday, wrapping up a Steelers loss to the Ravens, spinning it ahead a little bit more because we have an extra day of lag time here, but also have to turn attention quickly to the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas. All right, moving along. The Steelers' run defense was a problem. I highlighted Lamar Jackson running for 162 yards, but don't love that and don't love some of the defensive breakdowns in general. The Steelers, 4 of their past 5 opponents have scored at least 24 points, an average of 27.4, included that in today's column, while also giving up 359.6 yards per game. Those figures would obviously have the Steelers very low on the list. Worries me what they're facing the next 2 weeks. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. I don't know what the playoffs would hold, but you might get Justin Herbert. You might get CJ Stroud. You might get Lamar Jackson again. It's not great. Need to tighten up very quickly, and a lot of it starts at the line of scrimmage. But in the middle, well, linebackers have been okay, and the defensive backs, again, as I talked about earlier, very, very banged up. One thing that sort of bothered me about this game, the downfield passing game relative to the tight ends. I thought there was more ground to be gained there. Coming in, Baltimore allowed basically 6 catches for 61 yards to tight ends. That's an average total of 860 yards, ranking 5th most in the NFL. The Steelers really didn't do anything to take advantage of it, and they haven't writ large. Pat Freiermuth has not been enough a part of this offense. He needs to be more of a part of the offense. Perfect example to see what Travis Kelce has done. But if you look for more ways to juice things out of this offense, and again, George Pickens is a big one. If he comes back Wednesday, that's target number 1. But right behind, I keep saying this, I feel like we're banging a drum here. But Pat Freiermuth needs to be a bigger part of things. TJ Watt, our next thought. TJ Watt played. I think it was important. I think TJ Watt gave all he could. I think it was admirable. And I don't think TJ Watt was anywhere near 100%. In hindsight, you could look at this and say, what the heck were the Steelers doing? What was Mike Tomlin doing? I mean, they're probably lucky to have gotten out of that game, honestly, with TJ Watt being healthy. If he would have gotten hurt based on, I think, how healthy he looked, where, he's not beating single team blocks. That does not happen often. Kind of a risk there. Don't love it. And so, well, hopefully another few days helps him. And also he can avoid injury. But TJ Watt was most certainly not himself. And I wonder how healthy he is at this point in the season. On the back end, there are some communication issues. That's our next to last thought here. Not great. Not great to see on the touchdown to Isaiah Likely. You probably saw Patrick Queen, Minkah Fitzpatrick kind of looking at each other. KZ had another one. There were just a few breakdowns that can't happen this time of the year. They absolutely can't. Steelers don't really, you can practice tackling, you can practice defensive alignment, you can practice mental stuff, but some of that stuff is just hard to practice in the limited time that they have. So speaking of that, that's my 10th thought. This whole schedule is just nuts. I know the Steelers aren't the only one. This isn't a woe is me kind of situation. This is just stupid. It really is. You just played a game. You're playing another one. Things need time to breathe in the NFL, players need time to heal. I'm a firm believer that games should be played on Sunday and Monday. I'm going to get a little bit more into that later in the week, by the way, kind of a teaser for a Christmas A1 column. But this is taking Christmas or anything out of it. There's too many games and not enough days. It's not fair to the players. It's not fair to the quality of the product. I hate it very, very much. I mean, as a fan, as a consumer, I guess I get it. If you look at it from a business aspect, I certainly understand what the NFL is doing, although I don't like it. But from somebody who's around football and seeing these guys prepare, and even the logistics of my life, and I'm not saying, oh, woe is me. I'm saying it's a very tight turnaround. And this is dumb. And I wish they would do things a different way. But I hope you don't do things a different way. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and so much more from our Post-Gazette, North Shore Drive, and YouTube network. So, yeah, that does it for today's edition. We'll be back here same time, same place. Thanks for watching First 10, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.